Do you know, one of the most powerful things about Jadu Academy isn't all of the stuff that gets launched at you through the day. It's the conversation that happens here, and that's where connections get made. I suppose, firstly, Richard opened this academy because Richard now runs the UK, so Vice President, newly promoted Vice President of the UK is Richard. And that is the first and last round of applause you're going to get. So, and that means that I'm running the US, so I'm spending a lot of my time in Kansas City. So what you can see there is Jadu's new offices in Kansas City. The first thing I did, or we did, was move from a virtual office in Chicago to a physical office in Kansas City. It's a shared space, so there's lots of technology companies there as well. In the US, we're building a business purely on higher education. We've got 20 large universities. You just saw 3 more added to our portfolio of customers. And I would consider them, just like all of you, our partners, really. I mean, they add so much value to the Jadu ecosystem that's untrue. So it's 3 years, would you believe, 3 is the magic number, since we started continuous release. And now I'm really happy to say every single global customer, just under 200 enterprise customers, are on Continuum now. So that's everybody. We thought it would take a lot longer than that. We were thinking maybe 4 or 5 years. So it's amazing that we've been able to do it in that amount of time. And of course, we're still the only vendor to be on continuous release in that way. So it's an achievement, and it's absolutely essential to get you those updates and those integrations in good time. So there's 3 things, really. I wanted to focus on the user experience, because it's become incredibly important that your users have, your users meaning your customers, have a great experience at using your websites. And we want to focus on the tools to deliver, how we can deliver quickly, and we want to focus on skills as well, how you can best prepare, I suppose, for the challenges that we face every day, and using your platform in the appropriate way. One of the big changes that is coming, has anyone heard of the new Web Content Accessibility Guidelines? Is anyone working towards them? Including everybody in everything that we do is so hard. It requires an extraordinary amount of effort, and that effort never ends. So it's really important that you make business cases, that it's not just a side project, that you bake it into everything that you do. And that's kind of what we've done at Jadu, and it requires a lot of effort even for us. I mean, one of our directives at Jadu, there are 7 directives, you can Google them. They're our core values as a business. One of our directives mandates accessibility, and that's been there right from the beginning. In America, which is kind of where I'm from now, it's called Section 508, or ADA, and it's becoming incredibly important there, and it's being written into law there as well. So we are growing really fast, primarily because of that. We're one of the only forms vendors on the global market that has an accessible forms product. So the responsibility is huge. And of course, it's not just the WCAG, it's the EU directive as well, although the EU is a touchy subject at the moment, isn't it really? We'll stay away from that today. If you were here last year, was anyone here last London Academy? John, you were. Anyone else? I know you were, Vijay, you spoke. Anyone else? A couple of people. Okay. Well, we launched Photon, and Photon is a brand new technology inside the Jadu CMS. It provides a template engine that makes it really easy for web designers to craft the user experience, to bake in accessibility, and to deploy really quickly as well. And Photon has, we've been working carefully over the past 12 months with a select number of customers. Is Bolton in the room today? Anyone from Bolton? No, that's a shame. So if you go to bolton.gov.uk, that's Photon powered. You would never know it, but the entire method of building it, the way it was delivered, was it was completely different to the way Jadu websites have been crafted traditionally. And now, when that site gets iterated or redesigned, it's literally the job of a web designer. So you don't have to go to a team of developers to have to recraft and retest. It's literally a change in a HTML theme. And that echoes all the way through galaxies as well. So if you've got lots of Galaxy sites, if you're a site that's under Photon, it's way easier. And it's taken us years. If you talk to Sarah Backhouse at the back there, and we got to the end of it, and it was an incredibly proud moment. And what you'll see now is from today onwards, or from now onwards, all sites will be built under Photon. So if you ask us to do a redesign or a rebuild, or you ask us to re-implement, the first conversation will be about how we do Photon. All new onboarding customers will be Photon first. And Richard mentioned the Local Government Association of Queensland, LGAQ, who are one of our partners out in Australia. They're delivering their own Jadu websites using Photon, so they went Photon first. And they're one of the customers that helped us actually develop the technology. So Photon's an amazing thing, and I got to launch that last year on this stage, actually, in London. And in a year, we've made a huge amount of headway in making that and baking it into our everyday practice. So now I'm very pleased to say that's pretty much the future for all Jadu systems. So London is where we kind of launch things. We launched the Jadu library here, we launched Photon here, and every time I do a London Academy, which is why I kind of flew back for this really, is because I get that Steve Jobs moment, you know, that one more thing. So here it is. But we're actually going to show you what that new deployer tool does. I mean, we talked about delivery being one of the key recurring themes. Certainly through next year, it's going to become an extremely important tool. What it will enable you to do is take more control and deliver your own releases. And we talked about agility and we talked about delivery being the key here. So we've got a short video, it's a couple of minutes long, just to kind of explain what the three elements, those three components, when brought together, actually mean. So I'm just going to play that to you now.
Hello. With all our customers now on continuous release with the Jadu Continuum platform, it's now possible to move faster and evolve delivery of digital services in a much more agile way. We've now released 2 new major features to Continuum to help you manage your own releases much easier. We've also launched a certification program to make your teams Jadu experts. First, we have Photon. Photon is a new website template engine built to enable developers to rapidly create responsive and accessible websites using HTML5 and Twig, the flexible template framework for PHP, which uses an easy-to-learn syntax. Great for web designers, great for fast results. Implementing Photon does mean a redesign and a rebuild of your website and your Galaxy sites, but the long-term maintenance and potential of website functionality becomes easier, more accessible, and most importantly, much faster to develop and deploy. Secondly, we've created a new utility to help you manage your own Continuum releases. Developers can use the new Jadu deployer to easily package up your HTML templates, including your custom functionality, and plus the latest Continuum release, and then automate the deployment process. No mess, no fuss, and quick to deploy releases. And finally, we've launched a new suite of certifications for both customers and our service partners to make sure you have and maintain the skills you need to manage, develop, and sustain your digital business. Certifications are renewable annually and include programs for designers, developers, content administrators, and network engineers. With 3 new foundations to improving the agility of your digital platform, the future looks bright. Jadu Continuum, making frequent releases, agile delivery, and rapid development reliable, easier, and faster.
So, I mean, a lot of work has gone into trying to bring this strategy together and bring it to bear. And, I mean, certifications in particular, it's all very well having the tools, but you've really got to know how to wield them and how to use them. And the Jadu platform has become really sophisticated. If you're a full platform user, Northampton have just gone live with their new website, but they launched CXM 3 or 4 months ago, Pat? It's a game changer. You know, once you've got to grips with how the tool works and you've been trained, you're using it in the way you always thought you would. But then you've got to start looking at how you're going to be shaping things and evolving them in the future. And having those skills is absolutely key. And because we're on continuous release, because the software is literally being upgraded little by little all the time, you've got to really be able to leverage that. And in the space of a year, we could have gone through maybe, on your particular platform, we could have gone through maybe 4 or 5 iterative releases, which means that there's potentially 4 or 5 or more, certainly more, features that you might not either know about or know how to use. So certifications are annually renewed, and you can start baking them into your practice now. You can choose who your crack team are. They don't have to necessarily be in your communications or web or marketing teams. They could be across your organisation. You can start skilling people. They're proper certifications, so you get a physical hard copy as well, and you can frame it, and it goes on your CV, and it's a career, it's a step in the right direction for digital skills. And digital skills at the moment in every area, including in the GDS, in the Gov UK sphere, is incredibly key and important. So get certified. And we've got Northampton in the room. I'd just like to say, all of you do such a fantastic job. Northampton have done an incredible job. They've, in a very short space of time, literally implemented this huge platform and refreshed everything. So it's a massive programme of change that they've been through. And you'll hear more from Northampton later today, some of the R&D projects that they're engaging with as well. But just a quick round of applause for becoming the first certified Jadu user. Well done. It's magic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spend just 10 minutes and talk you through some strategy stuff. It's really just to kind of reiterate the theme of today, really. And it brings together some of the R&D projects. It brings together some of the foundations that we have at Jadu as well. But I mean, you can break it down to 4 things. You can turn suppliers into partners. You know, we're all facing huge challenges, particularly next year. Without going into all the detail of it, you see it in the headlines every day. It's really uncertain. So where local government and higher education will be over the course of next year. You know, we've got to remap how our businesses work and how our business models will be reshaped. So we're going to count on those partnerships, and we're going to become very dependent on each other to be able to get through it. So becoming partners and actually starting that conversation is really super important. We can talk about some ways of how some of you have actually delivered that. Focusing on the customer, because it's easy to forget who we're doing this for. And it could be the customer, it could be the student, any constituent, whoever we serve. It's about putting them in the middle of this, really. And we'll come back to that theme as well. And that's what the whole, I suppose, recurring conversation about UX and accessibility is. And then there's the key integrations. And this is where we're talking about the microservices that connect to each other. Literally, the Lego bricks that connect how we construct digital service. And then there's sharing that success. So we're not constantly reinventing the wheel. It's Paul Greenhead here. Paul over there from Methods, came up with the idea of a library, a common shared library, which we launched last year, and it still is in its infancy and is powered by you. So it's all of the forms and workflows and now photon themes, website themes that you will be building will go on that shared repository, and it's an open source library, jadu.net/library, or you can just Google Jadu library, you'll find it there. And recently, the local digital community has taken this mantle on, and there's talk about building a nationwide central library as well, which would be fantastic, and we're 1,000% behind. When that sharing really starts, the next time you have to build a form to collect some data from a student or from a customer or internally for HR or whatever the reason, check the library first, because somebody has probably done it before you. And it's this notion that we're constantly now trying to avoid reinventing the wheel time and time again, rather than just going headstrong in and spending a week doing the business analysis, spending another week doing the build, spending months and months testing, and then deliver something. You should be able to just do it in days. That includes full service automations as well, like integrations, for example. Most people wince when I say the word integration, because it's painful, it's expensive, it takes all the suppliers to work together. But if those suppliers have been working together from the outset, like Jadu in Northgate or Jadu in Pitney Bowes, or all the technology providers that we now work with, to build those services into the software so you don't have to do that work, then we all win. So those are the 4 key elements. And just as a demonstration, Birmingham City Council, Suraj, are you here? Another star of the show. So Birmingham founded the relationship that Jadu has with Pitney Bowes, amongst other suppliers as well, because we also work very closely with Northgate at Birmingham too. But that partnership is blossoming into something very special. It's got potential to be global, and both businesses will really benefit from that one customer need that got met. Thank you, Birmingham, for that, and thank you, Pitney Bowes, for having your sleeves rolled up as well, because not everyone wants to work together in the marketplace. Hopefully that changes now, though. And then Lichfield, unfortunately, couldn't be here today, but they founded the Northgate Partnership. So that all came out of the head of Lizzie Barton. She led the project of the implementation of our CXM platform at Lichfield. And that's a hugely successful partnership that's getting closer and closer all the time. London Borough of Harrow. Is London Borough of Harrow here? Hello. So Harrow have been Jadu customers ever since I can remember. I think maybe even almost as long as Leeds University. Might even have been the same year. Harrow is a really forward-thinking organisation because they went completely digital. They were one of the first authorities to really push the boat out when it came to service automation, and their website is very sophisticated, very proudly to be powered by Jadu. But they have a very, very capable internal team of technical wizards who've connected all the dots and built this incredible website. And they're partnering with us to develop a new product, a new personalization engine that will be built inside the Jadu CMS. It's a non-technical, no-code rules engine that enables you to target users based on their needs. Sounds magical and incredible, and it really is. So watch for that next year. There'll be more to come on that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Northampton Borough Council, who are working with us on chatbot integration with the Lex API, the Alexa platform from Amazon. So those are the foundations, and I'll move swiftly on. So customers, this is how we define customers. So when we say customer, we're talking about you, of course. So for us, it's fairly clear and boxed. It's government and higher education, and not-for-profit. Those are the markets we work in, and that's pretty much where we play. And then, of course, users, and we'll touch on users all the way through today, because that's what we're here for. Customers, businesses, students, partners, employees, any constituent, any stakeholder that needs to interact with the organisation digitally. And to be honest, these days, that's pretty much everybody. And that experience, that user experience, is the difference between success and failure. If you're a local authority, it's the difference between cost and savings. The last thing you want is for the phone to ring, or worse still, for somebody to have to come through the door. So the partner ecosystem is incredibly strong and is now really beating at the heart of our ecosystem. And we categorize it in three areas. There's digital service partners, so services, there's technology partners, and then there's creative agency partners. And we've kind of done a little bit of work in all of these segments. So first of all, methods, if you just put your hand up. Hello. And Liberator as well. Hello. So Methods and Liberator have been working with us for the past 18 months, maybe almost 2 years, to skill themselves up on how to deliver the Jadu platform so they can work with you. And that's all about scale, because Jadu is not a huge organization. Last count, there are 82 employees in the global organization. So we're not big, and our partners give us that scale, and they give us that ability to deliver, and the expertise in service design as well. They are extremely experienced. It gets more interesting when we start talking about technology partners, because these are the Lego bricks that make up service delivery, and we're all in the business of digital service now. So Cluedo, are you in the room today? Jared? At the back. So this is a brand new partnership. We're announcing it today. It's fantastic. Cluedo is now our de facto partner for search. So used to be Google, now no longer, now it's Cluedo. And you can start looking at the Cluedo product set. It's smart, it's intelligent, it's secure, and it scales. You can go from small, medium to large. And Jared will be talking about what Cluedo offers later on today as well. There is tight integration already live in the integrations hub in your software today. Some of our partners, Objective, are in the room today. Hands up. We're very close friends with Objective. We know Objective in Australia, and we know them here as well in the UK. They are one of our strategic choices for document imaging and content services, so document imaging. And there's also Highland software in the US as well. Highland are a global organization, but we're growing really quick thanks to Highland in the US. And that's pretty much all I do when I'm out there, is I work with Highland customers, amongst other partners as well. You might have heard of RPA, and robotic process automation. We're about to sign a contract with Blue Prism, and that's the beginning of a relationship to speed up integrations. So instead of having to hand code every single connector, we're now looking at opportunities to automate and use RPA. And then, of course, there's Pitney Bowes. Pitney Bowes? Hands up at the back corner over there. So this is the first two-way integration that we've delivered under the Jadu platform. I'm just going to quickly play you this short movie.
Hello. One aspect of our digital vision is to ensure customers are updated effectively, so expectations are managed and unnecessary contact avoided. Effective customer experience. Users of Pitney Bowes Confirm will be familiar with how well it helps streamline and organise how information is captured, stored and managed for highways and asset management service requests, such as a customer reporting a broken streetlight or pothole. Users of Confirm and Jadu CXM will be aware that integration between the two has been available for a while, but with one fundamental missing part to the equation. Automatically updating the customer. Until now, thanks to two-way integration enhancements added through Jadu's integration hub with Confirm. Let me explain. So I can report a pothole online using my location and completing the XFP form and submitting. This raises a case in CXM that I can track and comment on. And your customer services staff can respond to and manage. This subsequently creates an inquiry in Confirm in real time with relevant information for the service area to investigate the report. Now this is where the customer falls out of the equation. And so here's the new bit. Now when an inquiry is updated in Confirm, the updated information can be sent to CXM, which, dependent on the new rules configuration, can update the customer's timeline, change the status of, or close the case at the relevant time, sending an email notifying the customer. This provides the customer with a seamless customer experience, whilst the back-office systems are also kept in sync without further rekeying or manual intervention. Equation complete. Here's quickly how we integrate. In CXM, head to Integrations. Find and select Confirm, and then enable the integration. Enter the API details and hit Save. Next, select Mappings and choose the relevant case type. Match outgoing fields from CXM to Confirm. Then, match incoming fields from Confirm back to CXM, the new bit. Hit Save and enable the mapping. We recently introduced a rule trigger feature for handling when a case value is changed. Rules can therefore react to an automated change made to a case value, such as one instigated by a confirm update. CXM then emails the customer to keep them informed of your team's progress. The online service is now automated and fully integrated with Pitney Bowes Confirm. Jadu Continuum and Pitney Bowes Confirm two-way integration. Service delivery and customer experience connected.
So that is the first two-way integration we've delivered. And why is that important? Well, has anyone heard the term low-code before? Low-code? Well, Jadu is a low-code platform now. And what you just saw there was low-code integration, something that previously developers would have to do and spend months doing. Now you can just configure yourselves. So yeah, some of that was felt like a bit rocket science-y to me. Goes with all the rules connections and that sort of thing. That's service automation working. That's when someone updates a back office system, it automatically informs the customer and closes the case. That's service automation. And that's where we need to head for. If you are Leeds University, the next two-way integration we will deliver is with Ellucian, who power your student management system, Banner. And that's through their Ethos platform. So that's one of the major projects that I'm working with a big US university and Ellucian on in the US, and that's kicking off in January. So there's good news for you there. Hopefully the next two-way integration video you see will be something that you might be able to use. And it's a game changer, just like that one. So if you're a Pitney Bowes customer, or quite frankly, you fancy moving to Pitney Bowes, then talk to the team at the back over there and they can tell you what they offer. A whole gamut of different solutions that are tailored for local government. Okay, so I've got a few minutes left and we're overrunning slightly, so I'll speed up a bit. So agency partners are something we haven't really worked on hugely other than with LGAQ over in Australia, simply because it's really hard to work with a client when you are asleep when they're awake, as we found in the early days of working in Australia. And then flying to Australia takes absolutely ages. Anyone been to Australia before? Yeah, the jet lag is way worse, isn't it? And I'm really suffering it now, and I was only 6 hours back, so I don't know what time it is really. But LGAQ have been absolutely fantastic. They've helped to shape the photon technology and bake ease of delivery, and they're already on, I believe, they're about to launch their 4th or 5th website. It's breakneck speed. They have 100 websites to deliver during, I think they've got until about June next year or something crazy like that, to do all of them. And there's more local authorities in Australia now coming on board because the success is starting to gather. It's incredible. So photons are really big change. It's fundamental. It requires a wholesale, if you're an existing Jadu CMS, it requires a wholesale redesign of your website and any galaxies that go in. But the benefits are massive in terms of future sustainability and support as well. It's also one of the foundational changes that we've made to make continuum releases far more reliable. So it's another big step in the direction of you pressing a button and your system updating by itself. It's still a journey. Okay. The library, we talked about it earlier. There is a video. I'll skip it, but I really suggest you go and discover. There are two categories at the moment. There's local government and higher education. One of my missions, whilst I'm in the US, is to significantly ramp up the higher education category, because I think there's a couple of forms in there at the moment. Whereas in the local government category, there is tons of stuff. Forms, using the current form builder. There is new form builder stuff going to be uploaded as well, thanks to some of our partners and some of you who are contributing. There's CXM workflows, and soon there'll be widgets and all kinds of other stuff there too. So go and have a look. There is a video as well, so if you go to jadu.net/library, you should find it there. So it's all about users, And as you can see here, users constitute many things, and increasingly now they're starting to constitute robots too. So service automation and all those other good things, chatbots and all that other stuff. And we need to lay our business out ready for that. So users at the top. Then you've got platform, digital platform. Of course, that's what Jadu does as a business. We are a service automation company, starting with the web, going all the way through to the back office via integrations and our fantastic partners. But this little stack shows you the priority. So you can see what we are primarily focused on. So we call the web content management system portal pages, or it's a place you go where you can find interactions and transactions. And then you've got forms that are currently the manual way of data entry. There could be smarter ways coming soon. You should be able to just have a conversation and that fills in a form, for example. And then there's workflows, service API inside CXM. This is the technology stack that makes up a platform. It's the grey, boring stuff that we have to do every day in our everyday lives, because that's kind of what we do here. That's why we're here. We run these big platforms. That's why skills are so important. We are still working on an offline case management capability for the CXM service. So the current Jadu app that's in the iOS and Android stores is two-factor authentication. You should all be using that, by the way, just as a side note, for security. And then telephony systems and telephony integration is also very important to us. We've done a little bit of it. I think you've got some at Northampton. Yes, I'm glad I got that right. And then, of course, everything that we've talked about today, so integrations with our partners, but also other systems who, where maybe the other side doesn't really want to talk to us, in which case, as long as they've got APIs, it's absolutely fine. We don't need to talk, don't need to be mates. And then, of course, there's a library as well. This is how it all fits together. This is how the jigsaw fits together to form the strategy. And this whole diagram is about the strategy. Mike Smart at the back there. Mike, over there. So Mike is what we call I call him an AI engineer because it's cooler. But he's an R&D guy. R&D doesn't mean nothing ever gets delivered, by the way. R&D means that you have to research, then you have to design, then you have to develop, and then you ship. And we reckon first quarter of next year, do we, Mike? Yes, he's nodding assertively. Correct answer. So let me just talk about automation, and I'll wrap up after this. There are certain areas that we're focusing on with automation. There's personalization, and you'll see a lot more of that next year as we start to develop the new personalization engine, a new product. There's sentiment analysis, understanding whether your customers, your students, your stakeholders are happy or not. And if they're not, where are they? And why are they unhappy? And we built a little robot at Jadu called Miyagi. Miyagi is still very much alive and kicking, or perhaps not kicking, but listening. And the thing about artificial intelligence is that you've got to add the intelligence first. And there's two things that you need. Well, you need the knowledge, but then you need a vast amount of storage. Image recognition, so we can detect what's in a photo, and there are a million applications for that. And of course, robotic process automation, which is now becoming center stage. And RPA companies across the world are growing the fastest in the technology sector. including Blue Prism. So we came up with this little stack to kind of demystify this whole thing for you and for your organisations. And it starts at the bottom here, because we work our way to the top, and this is how we kind of mapped out how we're going to prioritise our investment in R&D in artificial intelligence. So it starts with people and culture. So digital teams, you, leadership support. So the hard bit now is persuading your leaders. So you've got to, penny's got to drop for all of us, and then we've got to persuade and build business cases, because it all costs a lot of money. And then there's the strategy for it. You've got to have your own digital strategy ready and proven. And once you've got that piece done, you can start looking at your platform and what it can offer. And then you can start looking at what APIs are available to you. And then you can start looking at product integrations and how you can do automations, like the stuff you saw with Pitney Bowes Confirm. And then at the very top, you've got machine learning. This is where we have to teach the machine. We have to teach the machine. We have to feed it with knowledge, otherwise it's not going to give a sensible answer. You can't put a dumb robot in front of a customer. Customers are smarter than we are. They've thought through everything before they call you, generally speaking. And if they haven't, they'll think it through while they're on the phone with you. So it's understanding and being able to train. And then right at the top, you've got the 3 segments that we're focused on. Okay, so hopefully that kind of clarifies. But if you do need a resource, there's a very early white paper that we wrote, which we launched at Birmingham last year, at Birmingham Academy, jadu.net/AI, and we'll start improving that landing page as time goes on. Just a quick word on personalization, just because it's really important, and it's part of the automation story. So how do you avoid having to build all of those landing pages that you build every day in your Jadu systems? Well, you can have intelligence do it for you based on signals. We call them signals, but they could be anything from the weather outside, the time of day, the location somebody is at when they're browsing a particular page, how many times they've browsed it. Those are all things like signals. And we take that knowledge and information, and you can build stuff based on it. You can target stuff based on it in a non-invasive way, so it's serving the user's need better. So traditional way to build a website, the way we all do it now, is we just build one-to-many. We spend a lot of time building one, and we expect many people to be able to enjoy and use that experience quickly. We want to change the relationship and turn it upside down, so it's many to one. It's many experiences when you land, because we know a little bit about you. We've captured some of those signals in a non-invasive way, and we can present you with things that are, we think, based on evidence, are important to you. Okay, and that, I suppose, brings our strategy all together into one lovely diagram that you can wrestle Fraser for if you want to take a hard copy, or just contact us and we can send you a PDF. Is Norwich City Council in the room today? So Norwich City Council asked us for that diagram. Sat down in a meeting and they said, Suraj, and they started drawing and gave me this drawing, and it looked a bit like that. So we turned it into a document, and now it's a strategy. And there you go, that's what our ecosystem looks like. I mean, that kind of wraps up my bit. Now, listen, everybody, I hope you really enjoy the day. There's huge amounts of value today.